I'd like to call tonight's board meeting to order. This is a meeting of the school board on June 3rd at 7 p.m. My name is Max Bennett. I am the senior representative of the board, and since it is my last meeting, I have been invited to guest chair. All right, agenda item 2.0, attendance.
Mrs. Giptis?
Here.
Dr. Gill?
Here.
Ms. Casalonis?
Here.
Ms. Layton?
Here.
Mrs. Lindstrom?
Here.
Mrs. Seither?
Here.
Mrs. Turner?
Here.
Mr. Bennett?
Here.
And Ms. Giptis?
Here.
Awesome. Agenda item 3.0 is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Perfect. Agenda item 4.0 is adjustments to the agenda. Are there any adjustments to the agenda? Seeing none, agenda item 5.0 is public comment on agenda items. Are there any public comments? Seeing none, I would like to move on to agenda item 6.0, which is recognitions. 6.1 is retirees, and I'm going to hand that on over to our superintendent.
And actually, we're going to have the administrators individually take the lead with that. So we'll start at the elementary level. How about Blue Point?
Sandy, I'm sorry to interrupt, but can you turn your mic on, please?
Your mic's not on, Sandy.
Thank you. Blue Point, are you out there? One of the elementary schools can take the lead. K2 schools? Anybody out there? Principals? Let's go to Wentworth. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kelly.
There are two here. April, if you take a look at participants, they're in the attendees.
I have Ella Martin.
Yeah, that's Kelly Long.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so do you want to do
Thank you.
first?
Go ahead. Why don't you start?
I'm happy to start. Is this microphone on? Can you hear me at home? This is going great.
This is going so smoothly. Folks at home, can you hear Mrs. Crosby on the in-room mic?
No.
I can bring out a mic that can do this, but that
Maybe
was
she
so
could use
inconvenient.
Gabby's. I can use Gabby's mic.
Just let me know.
Thank you. Is this one on?
Now can you hear me? Okay. So I'll just awkwardly stand here with this strange microphone, but only for these three amazing women. So I'm going to start with Virginia Ginny Soul. Ginny has been a part-time building and learning community EdTech 3 for 21 years at Wentworth School. She began at Wentworth, the old Wentworth, in March of 2001 after graduating from the University of Maine at Orono and working several years in the private sector, including time as a child advocate. She brought those advocacy skills to her role at Wentworth, where for 20 years she has seamlessly job shared a position that we call the glue that keeps our school together. Every day as a learning community ed tech is a new adventure. Ginny supports her teachers. She is willing to change plans on a dime. And most of all, she loves her students. She can do it all, from supervising lunch of 220 kids to substituting in a classroom for the day, covering an allied arts class, or proctoring a state assessment. She's organized, compassionate, and above all, flexible. The anonymous quote stating, "Blessed are the flexible, for they will never be bent out of shape," describes our Ginny. We wish her all the best, a happy and adventurous retirement. Thank you, Ginny.
It's so strange to not hug you, so.
Congratulations. Our second Wentworth retiree is Ms. Deb Austin. Ms. Austin began working with Scarborough students as a substitute teacher in 1999 and became a PE teacher at Wentworth in 2004, where she's been ever since. She will be remembered most for her beautiful smile. She's always smiling and shows kindness to everyone. Ms. Austin's love of movement, especially her expertise in yoga, showed in her ability to prepare her students for gameplay in the Wentworth gym. Her enthusiasm for different sports played around the world was evident in PE class, as was her calm approach to helping students learn new expectations, focusing on safety, and helping to resolve any potential conflicts that could happen in a gymnasium. Ms. Austin has been a true team player, greeting students upon their arrival, supervising breakfast, waving goodbye to the buses at dismissal. She has always supported our school in any way that she can. The Wentworth school community will surely miss Ms. Austin, and we wish her health and happiness in her retirement. Deborah Demeline Maxted aptly stated, "The game is never more important than the people you play with." And our Deb has certainly proven that point. Congratulations. And our third and final retiree from Wentworth School is Mrs. Joanne Maloney. Mrs. Maloney joined the Scarborough community in 1995, teaching part-time for students at the intermediate level, and became a full-time teacher in 1999. Over her 26 years at Wentworth School as an art teacher, she has demonstrated that she is a lifelong learner. She has continued her education, mentored new teachers throughout her career, and recently taught art education at the college level. Mrs. Maloney's love for art shows through many forms. A creative thinker, she has written many grants to help bring new experiences to Wentworth, such as the Puppet Theater that's now in the Learning Commons, and most recently, the Story Walk that is coming soon. As you walk the halls of our school, you will find many projects on permanent display that Mrs. Maloney completed with her students over the years. In her classroom, Mrs. Maloney includes many cultures from around the world and shares this through multiple art mediums: painting, drawing, printing, sculpture, just to name a few. We will remember Mrs. Maloney most for her mantra: be positive, creative, mindful, amazing, and an artist. And we wish her all the best in the adventures to come in her retirement. As John Wooden said, we all hope that you continue to make each day your masterpiece. Congratulations, Joanne.
Thank you very much. We'll go on to the elementary schools. And who would like to begin? Jessica, do you want to start?
I think it's just me.
Okay, Kelly.
I'm here and ready. So I am going to talk about Terry Ladd, who is a building ed tech at Blue Point School. and she has been with us for 23 years. I believe she's there tonight. She has been in academic support, not as a student, but as an ed tech. I didn't come out right. For the past 8 years, helping our youngest students learn how to read. And she has worked really hard with Megan Hart to learn some new skills to do that, and has been so dedicated. And I know Megan has not really talked about it, and when Meg doesn't talk about something, that means that she's really going to be sad when Terry goes. So Terry loves her time with kids. She chats them up and down the hall. She gets to know every kid that she works with. Terry knows every kid and family just by eyesight. Back before COVID, when we weren't dismissing kids to their cars, I'm sure she knows all their cars now, but she could identify every kid and their parent and grandparent and could match them up faster than anybody. So I don't know what we're going to do with that. We're going to have to fill that hole. She has a passion for recess monitoring. She really does. And line monitoring. That's another hole we're going to have to fill. She's an avid reader. She likes to host book club. She also loves to walk. And she loves a good bowl of cereal every Friday for lunch. She's also wickedly funny. Don't let her demeanor fool you. She and I have some good times and some good laughs. In her retirement, she's going to enjoy walking, not at 4:30 in the morning. And she's going to enjoy life without a schedule and hopefully traveling. So congratulations, Terry. We are going to miss you dearly. Have a great next chapter. Thanks, April. Then I have one more for you. You ready?
Yep.
And I know she's also there tonight. They were hanging out together. Sue Remillard. She is an 18-year veteran, Blue Point School, and most recently Blue Point in Pleasant Hill. She has made our elementary school concerts something to be very proud of. And we've since moved to Informances, which she has also made something very special. But Sue is a very special, talented lady. She has added flair to just about every school event, whether it's an assembly, a flag day, or a second grade step up. She loves a good prop, whether it's a flag, a scarf, you name it. She can turn it into something to have a student add magic to a musical performance. She is an accomplished musical director in her own right. She worked on The Best of Broadway for many, many years. She's taught private lessons to countless students in the evenings after school, after working full days. So she looks forward to doing that without the busy days of school during the day. She's got a new grandbaby to enjoy and a full life to enjoy after retirement. And the thing we'll miss most, among the many things we'll miss about Sue, is we don't know who is going to teach our students how to sing the 50 Nifty States. So if you know anybody, let us know. Maybe April. I think maybe April knows it. But we love you, Sue. Congratulations and enjoy.
I'm going to hijack Kelly. I will also add that Mrs. Romillard has brought music into my home for this entire year because I do have a remote kiddo, and she has brought joy and singing, and there's nothing like listening to a bunch of 5-year-olds sing through the computer, let me tell you. So.
Kathy, middle school?
Okay, my first retiree is Maureen Passarelli, and that came as a little surprise in the last couple weeks, but Maureen began her career as a high school teacher out of state and taught a variety of business elective courses such as economics. She began working at Scarborough Middle School in 2006 as a library ed tech. She has enjoyed working in the library, collaborating with staff, and working with students on research projects, setting up library programming for students, and establishing a welcoming space for students to visit. During this past year, she put together mobile book carts and worked with students, very flexible, covered for classes, and it was just wonderful. She has enjoyed all of her work, but her biggest joy has been recommending books to students and seeing the excitement when a student finds the right book. During retirement, she is looking forward to spending more time with her family, traveling, reading, and enjoying the outdoors. So I guess she couldn't make it today. Okay, next is Patty Bolduc. School nurse Patty Bolduc began working for Scarborough Schools in 1996, 2 years before I started, as part of the district health services team that consisted of 2 nurses and a medical assistant. Prior to working in school, she served as a nurse at Maine Medical Center and Maine Center Hospital in Vermont. In Scarborough, she was first responsible for the 3 K2 schools in Wentworth. And in 1998, Patty began working at the middle school. Since that time, she has been an integral part of the school community, going above and beyond every day to keep students healthy and safe. Her expertise ranges from headaches and ankle sprains to other chronic and acute conditions. One of her colleagues shares that she is so compassionate and does amazing work between bridging the gap between school and home so that students can be successful regardless of any medical challenges they may be facing. Patty's selfless nature is reflected in her comments recalling her years of service. She says that the highlight of her time at SMS has been the students, families, and staff she has worked with. In retirement, she plans to indulge her love of traveling, in particular to several national parks. She also looks forward to spending more time with her family and friends. Maureen and Patty, congratulations on your retirement, and you both will be missed.
Sue Ketch.
Good evening, and I would like to, Sue. Good evening, and I'd like to congratulate all the retirees, but since we are dividing up some of the names, I want to specifically congratulate Jane Powers-Odebeck, James Schoonover, Florence Lusk, and Max, who all come directly from the high school, so congratulations. I'm speaking tonight about Terry Bartels. Terry has been part of the fabric of Scarborough High School for 20 years. Terry leads with such kindness and warmth, and she cares so much about her students. Terry always has such kindness. She has an amazing amount of patience and flexibility for students and their families. Terry has an amazing amount of patience and flexibility and is always willing to help anytime. Terry has served on countless committees and teams at Scarborough High School, including MDT, SAT, and several interview teams, to name a few things. She has managed all of our junior college book awards for years, and that's a lot of work connecting with all the colleges. She's also served as the SSD coordinator for our standardized testing for a very long time. There are many examples of her effort to be a team player, and she does all of these things with no fanfare or need for acknowledgement. She just will do anything that needs to be done. In fact, please don't ask Terry to speak on stage. She will negotiate with you for just about anything to not have to be on stage. In fact, I can't tell you how many events that she's welcomed people to the auditorium and handed out programs in exchange for not getting on stage. Terry is an out-and-out, she's in and out often at Scarborough High School during vacations. She's there regularly in the summer because she's answering emails and phone calls, triple checking schedules, and especially looking at the seniors when she's assigned the seniors. She always puts so much attention into all of the details so that students have things run very smoothly. Her colleagues wanted me to mention how very kind she is and how much she cares about each student and their families. She is consistently, she's always thinking about their particular needs for her students. And the sun is hitting this funny, sorry. In her department, they and I think about her particular needs and situations. She's always appreciated collaboration over the years in the work with students, and her dedication is just commendable. Terry is looking forward to retirement and tells me she may consider a fun little part-time job to keep her busy. She hopes to spend more time with her mom, who lives with her, and as always, she makes time to see family and friends. Those are things that are most important to her. Congratulations, Terry. I can't tell you how much we will miss you, and very best of luck in your retirement.
Thank you, Sue. Allison, you're next.
Good evening. I have the three others that Sue mentioned from the high school to recognize. Jane Powers Odenbach. Jane has been in ed tech with us since 2001, working at K2, 3, 5, and high school levels. She began as a one-to-one support staff with a child who had a cochlear implant. She worked in the academic literacy support program, and lastly in special education at the high school in the academic life skills classroom, as well as the resource room programs. As Jane retired at the semester break, many of her colleagues shared their thoughts with her then. Adjectives they all agreed with included kindness, always a warm smile, caring, compassionate, patient, thoughtfulness, such as taking yearbook photos for some of the alternative students who could not otherwise afford senior pictures, and also attending concerts, performances, and athletic events that our students participated in. As one staff member noted, Jane was good for the heart and soul of every life she touched along the way, and there were many. So, Jane, we hope that you are enjoying your retirement, continuing to bring joy to others, but most importantly, are happy, healthy, and living life. So congratulations to Jane. I think I should join up with Terry and do anything not to speak in public on the stage. Florence Lusk. Florence joined Scarborough in 1999 with a master's degree in social work from Boston University, and also with 14 years of clinical social work experience. And now she is retiring another 21 years later. Quite a career. I also had the privilege of working as a social work colleague with Florence for many years when I was the middle school social worker. Florence is an active and creative learner, honing clinical skills such as being a DBT therapist, yoga, mindfulness, as well as being a skilled craftsperson with her jewelry making. Years ago, Florence was the high school civil rights team advisor, and more recently, the advisor for the buddy system. Her colleagues describe her as thoughtful, a calm demeanor, professional, ethical, welcoming, a team player, generous, great sense of humor, and equally parts kind and smart. But she is so much more than that. Florence has the ability to make you feel that you are the most important person in the world when you are speaking with her. She has a natural way of being present in the moment. We wish her every happiness in her next phase of life with gardening, jewelry making, babysitting her great niece, and hope Florence will feel as cared for as she has made us feel. So congratulations to Florence. And lastly, Jim Schoonover, who's here with us this evening. Jim has been a special education teacher with K through 12 students for the last 38 years. The majority of his time, 17 years, was with South Portland. And lucky for us, the last 8 years have been with us as a high school resource room teacher. Colleagues share that Jim is truly one of a kind. He's smart, witty, tolerant, patient, caring, and about the easiest guy around. Those soft-spoken, don't be fooled, because what he has to say is always worth hearing and usually pretty darn funny. Jim has created an environment in the classroom where students always feel safe, welcomed, and free of judgment or ridicule. Jim is a tireless contributor of tools, strategies, and unique approaches to teaching that he freely shares with his fellow teachers and ed techs. One example was his contribution to the development of the study skills scoring rubric, which is still currently in place, I'll add. Now, this may not sound like a big deal to someone outside the world of education, but at the time, it was. The high school resource room team had been struggling to put this together for over a year with many drafts. After congratulating Jim on finding the simple solution in what they had all made complex and overreaching, he replied in his unassuming demeanor, "Simple is what I do best." We wish Jim every happiness as he transitions to his next career, that of being retired. Rumor is that he might consider substituting for us to help him ease into that transition. Congratulations, Jim.
And Sue Ketch, I think you're back up. Come on down.
Mr. Jepson had a graduation in his house today, so he asked me to honor Don Prout. Don joined us in September of 2010 and quickly became a flexible custodian working in every school in the district. And whenever and wherever he was needed, we used him. He was reliable, dependable, and a quick study for learning the nuances of each of our schools. Don's dependability showed in him by never missing work. He's always been quick to respond to any building needs and has been agreeable and helpful no matter what the request. We appreciate Don's steadiness through the years and all he did for the coordination of summertime operations at the high school and his willingness to do whatever it took to get a job done. We will miss his dependability and knowledge of the district. Thank you for all you have done, Don. We will miss you, your dependability, and your knowledge of the district. Thank you for your service.
Transportation Director, Sarah Redmond.
I'm here to thank Wally Silva, one of my longtime bus drivers. He started here in February of 2006. He's been dependable and a joy to work with. Over the 15 years that he has worked for us, he's transported well over 3,500 kids within Scarborough, out of Scarborough. He's done regional kids, sports trips, dealt with many a bloody nose, lost teeth on the bus. He'll be sadly missed by a lot of families. He always did his job positively, safely, and with a lot of professionalism. One of the most things I'm going to miss is him dealing with me having a meltdown when I can't figure something out. So Wally, congratulations, and I hope you have a great retirement.
Thank you. Gonna miss you.
I think that is everybody. And I'd just like to say to our retirees, we wish you well. I know you're going to be excited about the next phase in your life. And don't be a stranger. Always feel like you can come back to the Scarborough school system. And good luck. Okay.
Congratulations to all the retirees. All right. Agenda item 6.2 is the student recognition, and I'm going to pass that off to Mrs. Seither.
Dusty in here. I have the honor of speaking about Max tonight on behalf of the board. To say that Max has brought us joy would be an understatement. Every month, Max has brought the board a precious glimpse into our schools. As a junior representative, he frequently shared work and stories from our K-5 schools, and we were often treated to cameos of his little sister Maria, who he clearly adores. As our senior rep during the most bizarre year of our entire lives, he has continued to bring us joy and share stories of resilience and hope. Most recently, it was announced that Max would be the recipient of the Pied Piper Scholarship. Don't look at me. In remembrance of our beloved Betty Hart. That was not an easy secret to keep, for I have known for months. Pied Piper is such a special place, and it connects our families, as we are both graduates, and our younger siblings are graduates there as well. I know that Mrs. Hart is smiling big right now. Max, you are funny and smart and clearly driven, given your impressive resume, and we know that you will succeed no matter where you go. Tufts is lucky to have you. We are proud of you already and truly can't wait to see where you will go from here. We will miss you and wish you all the happiness you deserve. Thank you for your years of service to the Scarborough Board of Education.
Thank you so, so much. Oh, okay. Should I get up? Okay. No, I have to get my steps into this. prepared for walking, I'm sorry. Okay, awesome. Perfect. Agenda item 7.0 is the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Max. I'd like to do the June enrollment, and I do this every month, and I'll be going over last year's enrollment figures compared to this year's enrollment. So we'll start with the high school. Currently, we have 941 students. A year ago, we had 984. Homeschool, we had 8. 100% remote, we have 235, and with the hybrid model, 706. Middle school, currently, we have 703. A year ago, 701. Homeschool, 21. 100% remote, we have 109, and with the hybrid model, we have 594. Wentworth, currently, we have 613. A year ago, 673. Homeschool, 17. 100% remote, 77 students. And with our hybrid model, 536. Blue Point, currently 197. A year ago, 203. If you look at all 3 K-2 schools, homeschool population is at 33. Blue Point, 100% remote, 34 students, and with the hybrid model, 163. As we look at 8 Corners, we currently have 227. A year ago, 243. 100% remote, 49 students, and with the hybrid model, 178. Lastly, Pleasant Hill, currently 184 students. A year ago, 205. 100% remote, 33 students, and with the hybrid model, 151. Our total population currently is 2,865. A year ago, 3,009. Homeschool, 79 students. 100% remote, 537. And our hybrid model, 2,328. I would like to go on to year-end activities. As you very well know, it's that time of year that schools are very busy with celebrations. And this is a snapshot of all the activities and celebrations that are going on. Everything from field days to drive-in movie nights to graduation. You can see the whole list there and the dates. And again, we appreciate not only the students, but the adults and teachers and any parents that are involved in helping with these activities. It's a great way to celebrate a terrific year, even though it was during a difficult time with COVID-19. But kudos to our staff and to the families and to the students as we slowly begin to end the school year. Thank you, and I think it's the chair's report now.
Agenda item 8.0 is the chair's report. And I'm going to be giving the chair's report today, so we can go on to our first slide. So what I decided to do for my chair's report is I contacted a bunch of the officers of some of the clubs at the school, and I wanted them to make me some slides about what their clubs accomplished this year, just kind of focus on what students have been doing. So the first person that I asked was Harshini Shaganti. She's a senior with me. She is one of the leaders of the academic decathlon team. This year, they competed in their 3rd consecutive state, like a match, or I don't know what it's called, but they won for the 3rd year in a row. And they did compete nationally again this year. They have not gotten the results back yet. But the focus of this year was on Cold War era, like propaganda, art, politics, that kind of thing. So thank you so much to Harshini for giving me some information about what happened there. All right, our next slide was sent to me by the class of 2021 class president, Maggie Ammon, about student government. And the student government consists of the 4 class officers and the 5 student council representatives. This year, the students have done a lot of really great things to compensate for what's been happening, like less as usual things. We've had the senior formal dinner, which was like our stand-in for prom, the senior breakfast. We're going to be having senior sunset this Friday. They've been really great. They've been doing a lot of great job communicating. So thank you so much to Maggie for sending that along and being the class president for the past 3 years. She's done a really great job. Our next slide is also sent to me by Maggie. She's the president of Key Club as well. Key Club is a service organization at the high school. They've done a lot of amazing things this year. Most notably, they received a $1,000 grant from the Youth Opportunities Fund to make care packages for the homeless population. They held a leaf raking event for the elderly community. They held a book drive for a school in Zambia. They raised money for the Thirst Project, Dream Factory, many other things. Every year there's a district conference for like key clubs in, I think, New England and Bermuda, I think is what our conference is. And we got first place in the oratorical contest, second place in the poster contest, first place in the video contest, and we also received a Distinguished Officer Award and an Annual Achievement Award. So congrats to everyone in Key Club, and thank you so much, Maggie. Our next slide was submitted to me by one of my good friends, Grace Keenan. She's the president of the Environmental Club. They meet every Tuesday to collect recycling throughout our school. They also have the Small Projects Committee, which focus on smaller things like they got rid of the paper towel dispensers in the bathroom and they replaced them with the fans that dry your hands. There was also a garden committee for our garden in one of our courtyards, the solar committee that's working on getting solar power at the high school. So thank you so much, Grace, for submitting this. Great job with ECOS this year. Our next slide, our next 2 slides actually were submitted to me by Isabel Liu, who's a junior. She is the leader of the Civil Rights Club. Civil Rights Club has been a really prominent force this year in this time of focusing on diversity, equity, and inclusion. They've done a lot of great things. They've had a lot of great discourse with community members, school administrators, like district leadership, that kind of thing. They've accomplished a lot, as she says, and it goes more specifically into that on the next slide. They worked with the DICE main group, the DEI steering committee, obviously, the Scarborough Anti-Racism Coalition. They organized a pop-up booth on voting day with sign-on petitions, which is, I think, really cool. They sent out recently, actually, for one of our A-East, our advisory activities at the high school, they sent out a video for every advisory to watch on digital blackface, which is really, it was a really interesting watch. I hope it educated a lot of people at our school. They've done a lot of other things, as you can see, and they've honestly been such a great group at the school this year. So thank you so much, Isabel, for submitting that and leading the Civil Rights Club at Scarborough this year. So that is all for the chair's report. Agenda item 9.0 is the student representative report, and I'm going to pass it over to Gabby first this time, changing things up a little bit.
Okay. So this is Wentworth student Raymond Lynch. He noticed when he dropped off his younger brother Reggie to school that on the side of Mussey Road there was a lot of trash. So him and his younger brother Reggie, along with his classmate Yug Patel, they organized this cleanup of the side of Mussey Road. And it's just it's amazing to see young boys like this take initiative to our community and help. And it's just great. And those are the pictures of them. And I think their parents went with them to do it. So thank you to them. It's amazing. And then next slide. Okay. So this past month, Scarborough had its Special Olympics track meet. And I had the pleasure to volunteer, and it was such a fun day. At the track meet were kids from 8 Corners, Wentworth Middle School, and the high school. And some of the events that they participated in were the 100-meter walk and 100-meter run, 50-meter walk and 50-meter run. And then in the middle slide, that's the long jump event, and then there was also a softball throwing event. And these are 8 Corners students, and you can see the when they got back on the bus, those are the other students congratulating them, and I think it was a little celebration. And it was just an amazing day. It was so much fun. And then next slide. This is the trailer to Wentworth's annual end of the year video. Ben Tukey is a student intern at Wentworth, and he created this video. And Mrs. Crosby said she'll pass it along once it's finalized, but right now this is just a trailer, and I attached the link if you could play it. I hope so. So yeah, that's all I have.
Well, that was Oscar worthy. Perfect. All right, we can head on to the next slide. So per updated board operating protocol, we have had the class of 2023 student representative elections at the end of this year. And I'm so proud to announce that next year's Board of Education student representative is going to be, you can click Yulia Baturlia. Congratulations, Yulia. She's probably not watching because I told her about it today, but hopefully she knows. She was very excited. And if you click again, she sent me a photo of her face, so that's what she looks like. So get used to that face because you're going to see it all next year when I'm not here anymore. So congratulations, Yulia. I'm sure you're going to do so amazing. Your speech, you sound like the most brilliant person I've ever met in my entire life. So I'm sure you guys will do just fine with her. All right, we can move on to the next slide. So as some of you may or may not know, I am an assistant director, a costume director, and I'm acting in the high school's production of Macbeth right now. And the show, we have 2 shows on Saturday at 2 and 6 at Memorial Park. Admission is free. And if anyone out there wants to come see it, I highly encourage it. It is going to be a grand old time with some Shakespearean text. So that is awesome. That is all for that. The next slide is just about the senior dinner that we had at the Sheridan Hotel by the mall a couple weeks ago. Here's some photos with me and my friends there. We had a great time. It was a dinner and in the hotel ballroom. They served some great food. We did trivia. There were some games. There was a photo booth, as you can see. And overall, it was a really great time. So thank you so much to high school administration and the class officers for putting that on for us. It felt like a really good, big event for the seniors. So thank you so much. And we can go on to the next slide. So since it's my last meeting and this is my last student report, I just want to say thank you to everyone. I did prepare a statement. I will warn you, it's long, but everything I say normally is really long. So get ready. Okay, so there are a lot of things that I could say about my experience serving on the school board for the past 2 years. I feel like my role as board rep has been extremely unique, an extremely unique one compared to other years, as I've sat in this seat and spoken on behalf of students on issues that I never could have imagined I'd even have to lay eyes on. But nevertheless, here we are, for better or for worse. For starters, I'd like to thank each of my fellow board members for tolerating me for the past 2 years. You've been such amazing individuals to work alongside, and I've honestly learned way more than I ever expected to. I'd also like to give a special shout out to Ms. Kazilionis and Mrs. Seither, who are the 2 chairs that I served under, for their graceful leadership in the face of adversity. Also to Mrs. Seither, who has stood by me through the, shall we say, good, bad, and the ugly that I have encountered while on the board. I am extremely grateful for how you've welcomed and guided me through my first experience in politics, so thank you. Lastly, to Gabby, thank you for being the most flexible junior rep I could ask for. You've done so amazingly well under perhaps even stranger circumstances than I've been under, and I can't wait to hear about what the future holds for you. I couldn't ask for a better co-representative or, dare I say, friend, and I'm so confident in your abilities going forward. It is an honor to have been able to work with you, and I wish you luck next year and with our new student rep. I fondly recall my first day of kindergarten, racing to be the first one in Mrs. White's classroom at 8 Corners, and not much has changed since. I have not, for one moment, had my confidence in Scarborough schools to deliver for their students waver. Whether the path that was taken was linear or convoluted, what is best for the students is always done in the end. If you remain on that path to success and steadfast in your convictions to do what you believe is right, but you must still take time to learn from your mistakes, pick up the pieces from your last lapse in judgment, and just move on. I've learned in this past couple of weeks, as I'm sure all of my fellow board members have or will, that it is far more important to do your job than to do the job that others expect you to do. In the end, remember that your job is to support the students and staff of Scarborough schools, so remember to not only listen, but also hear. The first operating protocol on the board's website is that the board will represent the needs and interests of every student in our district. In this time of focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion, we must be thinking about how we can support the marginalized students and staff in our district, but also think critically about why we are trying to do that. Why do these students need equitable support from district leadership? Why do you want to help them? I can't give you the answer, only you know why the lives of students are so important to you. In the end, for me, it's because students are the future, and plants have to be watered to grow, so don't forget to water your students. With that, I thank you all for an eye-opening 2 years, and I will take this experience with me wherever the future may take me, which is hopefully somewhere good. So thank you all. Awesome. All right, that is it for the student rep report. Item 10.0 on the agenda is the committee reports. Okay. First up, the Communications and Finance Committee.
So we joined forces because we have very little to say, but early voting is open. The election is on June 15th. We would obviously encourage everyone to vote yes, and just want to thank everyone again for all their hard work in getting us through this budget cycle, which I think is fair to say was one of the better ones we've had in the most recent years. And we're going into this with a lot of optimism. So thanks everyone for your support and vote yes. Leanne, anything?
I'll echo that, Sarah. Please do go out, vote yes. And if you have not gone to early voting, it was probably the easiest experience of my life. I think I was in and out in about 90 seconds. So thank you to Public Safety for creating such an easy way to get this done. But yeah, get out, vote.
All right, I think we can go on to the next slide. Negotiations.
Hello, so this slide looks pretty familiar, and so I just wanted to reiterate that we're continuing our work with the SEA on the contracts that are due to expire on June 30th, 2021. Our next meeting is Monday, this coming Monday, June 7th, and so we'll continue that work for our valued employees.
Thank you. All right, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee.
Perfect, thanks, Max. We've met, had our last meeting May 26th, so we're still on an every 2-week schedule. We reviewed, spent a lot of time actually reviewing what our committee's role is and what it isn't. So just in the effort to provide some more information. What we are a committee that reviews data. We're a committee that raises awareness, that makes recommendations and monitors progress. And that really comes out of our charge that we all looked at the last meeting. What we aren't, though, is we aren't a body that receives or addresses complaints. We aren't the body that changes policies or processes, and we don't direct the administration. So we spent a lot of time there. From there, we moved on to just have a discussion on cultural humility and what that means. We also talked a little bit about being culturally responsive and the difference between the two, and how we as a committee could use those lessons to direct our work. After that, we reviewed the high school and the middle school climate survey. It was actually, they were combined. It's a secondary school climate survey data results. So we reviewed that. And then our next meeting is on June 9th.
Awesome, thank you. And the liaison update.
Vote yes on the budget. That's the town council's update that they wanted me to share.
Perfect. Vote yes if you didn't hear it the first time.
That's also the legislative update. I'm just
Vote
kidding.
yes.
I don't have one, but vote yes.
Awesome. So agenda item 11.0 is new business. Agenda item 11.0 is the superintendent authorization of summer hires. So typically around this time of year, the school board must authorize the superintendent to make hires over the summer. So I make a motion to authorize the superintendent to make summer hires.
So moved?
Second.
Any discussion? Can I get a roll call vote?
Sure. Mrs. Giftis?
Yes.
Dr. Gill?
Yes.
Ms. Cazelonis?
Yes.
Ms. Layton?
Yes.
Mrs. Lindstrom?
Yes.
Mrs. Seither?
Yes.
Mrs. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Bennett?
Yes.
And Ms. Giftis?
Yes.
Awesome. Motion passes. 11.2 is appointments. 11.2.1 is the appointment of second-year probationary professionals. So can I get a motion to approve the second-year probationary professionals?
So moved.
Second?
All right, can I get another vote? Roll call. Vote.
Sure, just a minute. I just wanted to also bring up the slide.
Perfect, thank you so much.
Do you want me to go through those names? Okay, so I'll begin, if that's all right. These people have been hired this year, and we're recommending that they go on a second-year probationary for a second year. Megan Bailey, Carrie Bracy, Amy Chun, Amanda Eason, Sean Gesslin, Doris Groshen, Colleen Hackew, James Harmon, Lori Hibbard, Jennifer Hilliard, Daria Kirchhoff, Carrie Curtis, Burgess LePage, Suzanne Maha, Jeffrey Mosher, Brittany Oya, David Pay, Teresa Quinn, Abby Randall, Andrew Rice, Alexander Schroeder, Rachel Smith, and Susan Wood. That is your second year people starting next school year.
Perfect, thank you so much. Should we do the vote now, or should we wait till the end?
Let's vote.
Okay.
Mrs. Giftis?
Yes.
Dr. Gill?
Yes.
Ms. Cazelonis?
Yes.
Ms. Layton?
Yes.
Mrs. Lindstrom?
Yes.
Mrs. Seither?
Yes.
Mrs. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Bennett?
Yes.
And Ms. Giftis?
Yes.
Awesome. So 11.2.2 is the appointment of third-year probationary professionals. So I make a motion to approve the third-year probationary professionals.
I'll read through those names. That works.
Hold on, Sandy, because we have, we
Oh,
need a
I'm sorry.
second.
Yeah,
Yep,
that's right.
second.
Discussion.
Great.
And I think we can get the names now.
Yeah. Paige Andrews, Connor Casey, Gwendolyn Sever, thank you. Kate Chapman, Jacqueline Denibel, Kristen Goodall, Carla Griffin, Carly Hughes, Heidi Ignory, Angela Keaton, Catherine Kintz, Claire Ledoux, Brian Lamont, Kimberly Littlefield, Melissa Mills, Catherine Newell, Christopher Riley, Carolyn Thompson, Ashley Valentine, Jennifer Vitagliano, and Heather Wiggins.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Can we get the vote now?
Sure. Mrs. Giftis? Yes. Dr. Gill?
Yes.
Ms. Katsalonis?
Yes.
Ms. Layton?
Yes.
Mrs. Lindstrom?
Yes.
Mrs. Seither?
Yes.
Mrs. Turner? Yes. Mr. Bennett?
Yes.
And Ms. Giftis?
Yes.
Motion passes. 11.2.3 is the approval of the first-year continuous contract professionals. I motion to approve the first-year continuous contract professionals.
Second.
All right, discussion? And we can get the names
Okay,
now.
thank you. Megan Altery, Daniel Anderson, Daniel Crowley, Jillian Daigle, Rachel Galezian, Megan Haley, Maura Heffernan, Laurel Herendine, Rosemary Lenehan, Brianna Linscott, Catherine Littricat, Scott McDonald, Kara Mora, Sarah Oliver, Amanda Peabody, Laura Risbera, Ashley Smith, Amy Sullivan, Kristen Tate, and Susan Teal.
Thank you so much, and I think we can take the vote now.
Mrs. Giftis? Yes. Dr. Gill?
Yes.
Ms. Katsalonis?
Yes, if I can stay on off mute.
Thank you. Ms. Layton?
Yes.
Mrs. Lindstrom?
Yes.
Mrs. Seither?
Yes.
Mrs. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Bennett?
Yes.
And Ms. Giftis?
Yes.
Motion passes. All right, congratulations to all of those staff members. Agenda item 11.3 is the approval of a donation. I'll
Yeah.
pass it over to Superintendent Prince.
So I have a letter here from Kate Bolton, who's Director of Business and Finance for our school system. And the letter reads, "We have received a donation in the amount of $1,000 from the Town and Country Credit Union to support our summer food program. Town and Country participates in the Maine Credit Union's campaign for ending hunger, through which they make charitable contributions on an ongoing basis. This year, they learned from the Full Plates, Full Potential program that we were one of the school districts providing free meals during the summer months and decided to donate directly to us. We respectfully request that the school board approve acceptance of this donation on behalf of the school nutrition summer program with many thanks."
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Discussion? Can I get a vote?
Mrs. Giftis?
Yes.
Dr. Gill?
Yes.
Ms. Katsalonis?
Yes.
Ms. Layton?
Yes.
Mrs. Lindstrom?
Yes.
Mrs. Seither?
Yes.
Mrs. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Bennett?
Yes.
And Ms. Giftis?
Yes.
All right, thank you so much for your donation. The last item on our agenda is adjournment, 12.0 adjournment. Before we adjourn, I just want to say thank you all so much. I already said that a lot of times today, but you can never say thank you enough. So I guess with that, we can take the vote. Sorry, I motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
And now we can take the vote.
Mrs. Giftis? Yes. Dr. Gill?
Yes.
Ms. Katsalonis?
Yes, good job, Max.
Thank you.
Ms. Layton?
Yes, good job, Max. We'll miss you.
Thank you.
Mrs. Lindstrom?
Yes, good job, Max.
Mrs. Seither?
Yes.
Mrs. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Bennett?
Yes.
And Ms. Giftis?
Yes.
All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you. Bye.
Well done.
I love that you
Also-
said my first foray into politics.